Is this thing on? Okay. Hello, classmates. I'm Andrew Garza, and this is my informative speech. Matt, would you please show that I'm in fact speaking before a live audience consisting of 3 members?
Got it.
All the way around. All right. So according to the Pew Research Center, Islam is the second largest religion in the world, and it's the fastest growing. It's expected that about 2050, it's going to surpass even Christianity. And it's expanding globally. So it's reasonable to conclude that at some point in your life or career, you may have to interact with Muslims, even maybe in a Muslim culture at some point. Whether you're going to be a missionary in a Muslim country, or a nurse maybe, or maybe you work for a corporation that has a Muslim client. And there are a lot of pitfalls and a lot of things to consider when interacting with Muslims. They're very different from Westerners. And I'm going to teach you and equip you to navigate those interactions without offending anyone or embarrassing yourself. And it's actually pretty easy to do in those cultures because they have a lot of rules. Case in point, when I was in Iraq, a fellow Marine unit, I was talking to someone I knew in that unit, and he said that outside of their operating base, there was a riot. Or it could have started into a violent riot, but it was just a protest. A lot of men out with sticks, throwing things and protesting and being very loud. And when the senior Marines went to ask him what the problem was, apparently a young Marine riding in the back of a truck waved to one of the local women. And that nearly caused a riot. In fact, even the way that I'm sitting right now would be very insulting to a Muslim. So I'm going to teach you about some of these things and again equip you to navigate those interactions that you may find yourself in at some point. So I guess I'll stop sitting like that. Alright, first I'm going to give you a brief overview of the culture in general regarding etiquette, and then I'm going to go into greetings and hands and feet. Believe it or not, hands and feet have a lot to do with etiquette in Muslim cultures. So first, with the overview, it's important to remember that the sexes, unlike in Western society, are very separate. A lot of times women aren't allowed to own property, they're not even allowed to be in public without a man around, and in many societies they even need to have their heads and their whole bodies completely covered. They can't show an ounce of skin. Also, they're very conservative, even the men. So if you'll see the men, a lot of times they wear high-necked dresses almost, with pants underneath, full-length sleeves, and that's because of their religious customs. They're not allowed to show any skin either. They're all based on modesty and a strict segregation and strict roles with the sexes. So keep that in mind in all of your interactions, because you might not just be interacting women with other women, a Muslim woman, and you might also not be interacting men with Muslim men. So first we'll talk about greetings. You know what? I forgot a point. Another thing to remember is that in Muslim cultures, and in a lot of cultures around the world, like in Africa too, they place a higher emphasis on personal relationships rather than the task at hand. So in America and in Western societies, we like to just get right to the point. Hey, how are you, sir? Nice to meet you. All right, sit down. Let's start talking business. That's not how they do things. They want to engage you personally before getting to the task at hand. So it's important to keep that in mind and be ready for that and be ready to participate in that, which leads me to the first point, which is greetings. When you're greeting a member of the same sex, you can greet them pretty much just like any Westerner. You just shake hands, make brief eye contact, say hello, my name is whatever, and that's fine. However, if you're meeting someone of the opposite sex, keep eye contact to a minimum and don't offer to shake hands. You can follow their lead. Sometimes maybe a Muslim woman in certain contexts might extend her hand to shake a man's hand. Most likely not going to be the case. Just keep your hands at your sides, offer a greeting, and very brief eye contact, because too much eye contact and they will think that's inappropriate and they'll be offended. Excuse me. Women, similarly, even if you're with a male counterpart and he shakes hands with a male Muslim, don't offer your hand to shake hands. The Muslim man may offer his hand to shake yours, but don't don't initiate. That's the key. Minimal eye contact. Don't initiate any physical contact with the opposite sex. Other than that, normal greeting, shake hands, say hi, and you should be just fine. So also, be prepared for a prolonged handshake. They might want to sit there and talk to you while they're shaking your hand. And just go along with it. Ask them about their health. Don't ask them about their wife if you're a man. You want to keep those sexes completely separate. Also, next, the hands and feet thing. That's a big deal because part of their religion is that the left hand is it's like the dirty hand. They pretty much only use it to clean up after going to the bathroom. Other than that, they don't touch it. They don't touch you with it. They're not going to hand you anything with it. That would be insulting. You have to make sure that you do the same thing. So you shake hands with the right hand. You touch with the right hand. You exchange things with the right hand. Nothing is done with the left hand. So keep that in mind. That's a big one. Also, your feet. Your feet are regarded as very dirty. They're close to the ground, further away from God, and it's insulting to show the soles of your feet to a Muslim. So that's why the way I was sitting earlier with my legs crossed and the soles of my feet in the air, that would be an insult. Also, if you touch someone with your shoe, that would be an insult. Another case in point is in Iraq with the statue that got pulled down. You can see in the video a lot of Muslim men hitting the statue with their shoes. That is a huge sign of disrespect. Also, later on at a press conference in Iraq, a Muslim journalist threw his shoe at President Bush. And that was, again, a high sign of disrespect. So just be conscious of the way that you're sitting. If you're sitting on the floor, if you're in a more rural area, just cross your legs. That's probably what they're going to do. Just don't show the bottoms of your feet. Don't touch them with your left hand, and you will be just fine. So we've gone over just a general overview of their culture. The sexes are very segregated and have very separate roles, and you have to be mindful of how you interact with them. They're very modest, so also dress modestly. And when be mindful of what you're doing with your hands. Don't use your left hand to touch them or to pass anything off to them. Certainly don't shake hands with your left hand, excuse me, and be mindful of what the soles of your shoes are doing. Don't let the room see the soles of your shoes. Cross your legs. Don't sit with your feet up on the desk or anything like that. And you should be fine. So if you just follow these simple rules, there's a lot more to it. There are diverse cultures within Muslim cultures, but generally speaking, if you respect the sexes, if you're mindful of what your hands and your feet are doing, and if you engage in personal relationships before business, then you should save yourself a lot of embarrassment and represent yourself very well. So thank you for listening, and that concludes my speech.